Salute to my man Sigourney Jackson over at Who Politics. He's been one of the few solid YouTubers I've met with a message and hand of assistance to hoopers of all levels, and a fellow hooper himself, so I trust his perspective. We spoke today, and I wanted his opinion on why he thinks so many NBA players go broke after the NBA. Here's his thoughts. Link to his page in the bio, show him some love, and enjoy the new short series, Stunted Growth.
There's a lot of different reasons why NBA basketball players go broke. It's not just as simple as, oh, well, this guy spent a whole bunch of money on cars and clothes and rims and houses that they couldn't afford. There's so many other layers that go into it. You have to think about, even from an ethnic perspective, a lot of people, black, growing up in impoverished areas, do not come from backgrounds where they are financially literate. You have a lot of people who are coming from backgrounds where they are the first millionaire or the first six-figure person in their family, and they're expected to take care of their family because they don't have that money, and sometimes they're guilt-tripped into doing it. Some people don't know about getting a financial advisor, a financial planner who can help them manage their money. And then you have people who don't have the educational background to be able to take care of their money and know what their accountant is doing. And so you'll have an accountant who could be taking money and skimming it off the top every single time without them actually knowing it. And then 5-6 years down the line, they're trying to figure out, where did $5 million go? So it's not just as simple as a small little, they don't know what they're doing and they spend all their money. A lot of times there's a real reason as to why people are losing out on so much money and they're going broke when it's all said and done. Anyway, my name is Sigourney Jackson, creator of Who Politics YouTube channel. Make sure that y'all go ahead and check it out. Channel talking about basically the politics of basketball. I know a lot of y'all who may not be on the inside may think, yeah, your success in basketball is strictly off of your hard work and your talent, but that's not necessarily the case. A lot of times it's based on situations and opportunities, and I want to try to help you to be able to get yourself in a better position to have those situations and opportunities fall in your favor, and so you can actually be a high-level college basketball player and possibly a pro or whatever it is that you want to do. So if you're interested in it, make sure y'all subscribe. Shout out to Stunted Growth for giving me a small block in his channel. God's always in control. Peace.
60% of NBA players go broke and lose all their assets within 5 years of leaving the league. Studies show that the players that do usually do so because of lack of personal money management or the ability to find and employ someone that can do it for them. They have so much free time on their hands that most times spending money is more of a pastime, a thing to do with the hours in the day away from the gym, and sooner or later, all the money is gone. Things like shopping sprees, luxury houses that end up selling for significantly lower than they paid for it, cars, jewelry, family, and bad investments. In this new short series, we'll focus on the NBA players that actually went broke at some point as part of the reason their growth was stunted, while also looking at other reasons their careers took the nosedive it did. Stunted broke, where not because you're talented means your checks are balanced, kid. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. I should get it, man. First up, Joseph Leonard Smith, born July 26, 1975. In 1995, Joe Smith was the number one pick in the NBA draft, drafted ahead of Kevin Garnett, Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, Michael Finley, and the eventual Rookie of the Year, Damon Stoudemire. Most people, before Markelle Fultz, Greg Oden, and Anthony Bennett, regard him as the biggest NBA bust of all time. Talent-wise, for his era, he had all the necessary tools needed to become a future Hall of Famer and live up to his name created in college and in his first few seasons in the league. But unfortunately, these three things happened to him, and eventually he became one of the most traveled number one picks of all time. Along with that, by the end of his career, he had made over $60 million and lost it all, eventually being hundreds of thousands of dollars in the red and sitting in front of another sports superstar in Alex Rodriguez, seeking help to sort out his financial life. How'd he go from can't miss Joe Smith to can't stick and lost all my shit? Stunt number 1, rejection of the century. Another reason which I personally feel why these athletes end up going broke is because of how they are paid relative to their lifestyle. The majority of people believe they get one large lump sum of money to which they can hoard somewhere and live off forever. Actually, outside of a signing bonus, they get paid pretty much like regular job working citizens, which is bi-weekly. A fraction of their game checks are paid to them after being taxed, and now they have to live with that until the next check. The problem is, most of them spend that money before they see the next check, and by doing so multiple times, they end up indebted to agents and whoever else has fronted them money. Joe Smith is the poster child for what not to do as a potential NBA star and player looking to take that path in life. As I'm sure most of my more experienced listeners are already familiar with his story and like myself grew up watching this all play out, you know how much of a star this guy was as an amateur. Actually, in high school, he wasn't much of the well-known name he eventually became, even being rated a 4-star recruit by some scouting services. He grew up right under the nose of schools like Duke, North Carolina, and pretty much all the big East Coast schools that passed on him either because they already had their guys, because they knew little about the lanky kid from Norfolk, Virginia, or because Smith was a late bloomer at just 6'7" up until the end of his senior year when all the schools had already passed on him and he already signed with Maryland. He stepped on campus and was the best player in the ACC from day one, and by his sophomore year, the best player in all college basketball. After 13 games as a freshman, he was second in the conference in scoring to another Stunted Growth alum, Randolph Childress, at 21 points a game. He added 10.7 rebounds a game and 3.5 blocks as well. He would have games like the one against Florida State of 20 plus points and 20 rebounds, leaving opposing coaches in awe. So good, he was featured in Sports Illustrated as a can't-miss NBA star. Fast forward to Smith having a great start to that bold prediction, being drafted number 1 overall after 2 seasons where he averaged 19 and 10 as a freshman with 3 blocks, and 20 and 10 also with 3 blocks, leading his team deep in the tournament in both years. He was as advertised in Golden State, averaging 15 points a game, almost 9 rebounds, 1.6 blocks, and playing all 82 games out the gate, finishing 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting. In his second season, he was even better, playing 80 games, averaging close to 19 points a game and 8.5 rebounds, and shooting 81% from the free throw line. In those times, contracts were a little different, and by his second season, he was eligible for an extension, which would kick in after his following year with the team. Looking like a clear-cut future star, the Warriors offered him an $80 million extension, in which Smith turned down because he wanted to be in a place closer to his East Coast upbringing and also because he felt he could garner more in the free agent market. It was the worst move and biggest stunt of his career because he left a situation where he fit perfectly. The team obviously believed in him. He was the second best player on the team next to Tim Hardaway, and they were giving him the long-term security he wanted. In hindsight, that one contract was worth more than he made in his entire career, in which he played for half the teams in the NBA. Maybe even worse than the Sprewell rejection. Smith, in his 3rd season, would be traded to the Sixers mid-season after the team got clear indication he wasn't going to re-sign with them. He finished the season in Philly on a team that had zero need for his style and no room for him as well. With Derek Coleman, Allen Iverson, and Jerry Stackhouse, Joe Smith's numbers declined, never reaching what he shone in Golden State ever again. Needless to say, he never saw another contract like that ever again either, thanks to the great minds down in Minnesota. Stunt number 2, a fast one. is what the Timberwolves tried to pull on the NBA, which led to one of the biggest NBA scandals, possibly ruined Kevin Garnett's prime years, and was the beginning of Joe thinking he could just buy whatever he wanted since he was promised he'd get it back anyway.
That's a lot of money. So it's like whatever you just spent, it's like you getting it right back.
You're going 70 miles per hour. How long would it take you to drive 70 miles?
70, nigga?
Oh, why? Why 70? Explain to the camera why 70.
Because 1 times 70, 70.
Well, who the fuck said anything about 1? Where did 1 come from? You're going 70 miles per hour.
Oh, 1 hour.
Basically, Minnesota was like SEAL Team 6, swimming through the water in Pakistan, and Joe was hiding in some dirty hole in the ground, nuts crusty from lack of air and water. They really wanted this guy in free agency for whatever reason, seeing as his numbers by then was trash. So Kevin McHale and his flunkies sat with Joe and came up with this elaborate scheme that, according to McHale, everyone was doing. We'll give you little to nothing for 3 years. That way we can own your bird rights. Basically, we own your masters in musician terms, or we own every piece of skin on your body in slave terms. After we give you this chum change, or as my man Troy Terrain would say, nigga pennies.
Yeah. The hater misses nothing. I wish him all the best, you know.
We'll then be able to go over the salary cap and give you $86 million.
70, nigga?
Oh.
Joe was thinking like, man, I just threw away 80. Here's my chance to get 86. He signed the deal and the scam was in progress. It was running well-oiled too, until a couple agents got petty and started snitching. The NBA got word that Smith and the Timberwolves had illegal under-the-table agreements and made an example. David Stern fined the team $3.5 million, voided all the deals Smith made with the team, sat McHale down for a few years, and most of all, took away the team's first-round draft picks from 2001 to 2005. In KG's prime years, the team couldn't draft any players and no free agents wanted to come there. The team never recovered and Joe Smith followed suit, becoming the most decorated journeyman of all time. Stunt number 3, Will Smith.
How come he don't want me, man?
The final stunt in Smith's NBA career, outside of his life story of losing all that money, is him simply never finding another home pretty much since Minnesota, and some would argue Golden State. No team needed him, and for some reason, every team had space for him. They all believed they could resurrect some semblance of that player he was at Maryland as the number 1 pick and in his first few seasons. He was still a pretty solid rebounder. He played hard, he could step out and hit the mid-range consistently, and most importantly, he made free throws as a big. You bigs out there coming up, you can make $100 million today if you can hit free throws and rebound. Smith could, and he managed to stick around. Wait. Stick around is a bad choice of words, because that's about the last thing he did. After Minnesota, he played for Milwaukee, Denver, Philly again, Chicago, Cleveland, OKC, Atlanta, New Jersey, and the Lakers. In every one of those places, Smith bought luxury mansions like he was going to be there long term, and basically that's where all his money was lost because he wouldn't get close to return on those investments after he was traded. Why he kept using that same strategy, I don't know. Ask Kevin McHale. Maybe they had another trick up their sleeves. Smith, after his journey across the league, is now a private basketball lessons coach at 45, trying to survive and take care of his 3 kids. Moral of the story, you can grow at your own pace, have a stripper sit on your face, or take tokes and sniff coke, but never, ever go broke like Joe. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.